church which is in every way a church of God. Today we celebrate a wonderful saint of our church, St. Anthony the Great, who, as a teenage boy, heard the gospel of the rich young man, came to Christ and said, "What shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And having discoursed with the Lord finally told him, "Sell everything that you have and give it to the poor, and come and follow me." And we know that the rich young man did not follow him, but St. Anthony, hearing these words, was actually touched in the depths of his soul and decided that he would go out and do what the rich young man did not do. He would follow him. He went out into the desert. Remember that parents died, left a fortune really to him and his sister, and he sold all of his part, provided for his sister, and went out into the desert to begin a life that lasted in monastic struggle, ascetic struggle, for about 80 years. He went out with absolutely nothing. He went with nothing. And yet God provided everything into the desert, into the barren desert, where, apparently there's no food, there's no sustenance. And yet God provided for him in every single way. And I believe he lived to 108 or 107. My mind is not sharp anymore. I can't remember numbers so well. But he lived over 100 years, And the last years of his life, he was nourished on plants. And everyone said that he had a wonderful, healthy, radiant face. A beautiful face. So he was cared for in every way. And he essentially became an earthly angel. The body did not matter anymore to him. I remember one icon of him with a scroll said, one of his quotes that he gave, though he didn't read and write, still he was able, he knew the scriptures. He knew he had such glorious direct communion with God. And he said, "I no longer fear him, but I love him." He came to that point where he was filled to overflowing with the love of God. So God provided everything for him. He had everything. He had everything right there. God provided him with his mysteries as often as he needed them. Provided him with even though he was not a priest of the church. Provided him with everything. And in one sense, we find ourselves in the same situation here, in this place. Having come to the point where God has blessed in every way this community and has called it, really, I think, as it did St. Anthony, to sell everything, to give up everything, and come and follow him. You might say, well, we've tried to do that before, but God keeps calling us over and over again to do his will as we need it for our salvation. And so, once again, he's brought you to the point where he's given you everything. Really, everything. You have everything here. A wonderful church, a beautiful fellowship, a loving fellowship. God has provided you with a shepherd who is willing to sacrifice his life for his sheep and gives his life to teach and to care for, to feed them with the holy mysteries, to teach them the words of life. He's provided you with people who are using their talents to sing his praises in beautiful, beautiful ways, to read in such a way that everyone can understand. It's only when I come here that I can understand the services, not even in my own church, which is all English also. but I can't understand the services because they're not always read properly. That's my fault for not training. But everything's read so beautifully, so clearly here. I can hear every word and understand every word that the choir sings. And I would say maybe a third of what my choir sings, although they do very well. I'm not criticizing them. I'm very grateful for what they do. And in other churches, it goes down to sometimes a tenth or lower. But here I can understand everything. And it's so beautiful to hear the words of life. To let them sink into the soul just as they did into the soul of St. Anthony. Great. I see a love that's here among the people, a fellowship. Caring for each other, supporting each other. And this is the sort of thing that just simply we have to recommit ourselves to over and over again. Because the devil will always come and try to stir up things. Will always try to stir up suspicion. To look at one another, to see the faults, rather than the beauty, the glory, the image of God, the love, the care that each one has for others. And in the sense when things are not going so well, and I've heard rumors that some people think things aren't going too well, at least in the financial area, that we begin to think, well, why? What can we do? How can we solve this? Who can we blame? What's to blame? Who's to blame? This kind of thing. And yet, God, I think, in this case, is testing us again. Not that He necessarily causes the financial difficulties, but when they come, we are in a test. Again, God is there. A contest. To see how it is that we're going to react. Are we going to blame each other? Are we going to try to think of ways to solve it in some maybe way that's not so faithful? Or are we going to throw ourselves on the mercy of God and know that He is the head of this parish? He is the priest here. He is the teacher here. He's the healer. He's the Savior. He's the Lord. He's everything. And all of us are His servants. All of us are His servants. And it's so important for us to put ourselves on His mercy and to depend completely, absolutely, completely on His mercy and His love, and to know that He will help us. Of course, we have to do our part. Each one has to do his part. To do it to the very best of his ability, but do it knowing that God will take our meager efforts and will multiply them hundreds and hundreds of times to do His will and to bring salvation to each one of us, because that's why we're here, and to help each other with that salvation, and to proclaim that salvation to others outside, and to bring them in and help them and lift them up so that they also can go. We can all go together with a great multitude into the kingdom of God. This is where we're going. This is our purpose in this life.